Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk with Coach, the podcast where we deep dive into the realms of sales, leadership, and personal growth. I'm your host, Becca Goldsberry, an elite sales and leadership coach representing Southwestern Consulting. I am thrilled to embark on another insightful journey with you. Whether you're a seasoned professional aiming to sharpen your skills or an aspiring, hungry leader for knowledge, this podcast is your compass to success. So join me as we explore the strategies, tactics, and mindset shifts necessary to thrive in the competitive landscape of leadership and sales. Get ready to unlock your potential, seize opportunities, and conquer challenges like never before. Buckle up and let's embark on this transformative voyage together. Welcome to Talk with Coach. Today's guest is somebody I get to call a good friend now. We get to see each other on a frequent basis and somebody I love to network with, throw ideas, bounce ideas off of, and get into some mischief together. So how I met this phenomenal person is I was invited by Shannon Wise, who I met at a One Zone Chamber event in November of 2022 in Noblesville. And Shannon and I connected, had a great coffee meeting, and she's like, "You got to meet this person. She does this amazing women's connection breakfast once a month." And so I attended the Citizens Women's Connect in April of 2023, and that's where I met my wonderful guest today, Melissa Volz-Smith of Citizens State Bank. Melissa, welcome to Talk with Coach.
Thank you so much. I am just honored to be here and just excited to have some time with you and chat about all the things that we are getting into and just life, all the good
And
stuff.
I know, right? Well, you guys, let me share a little bit about how amazing Melissa is. So, first, she is the Assistant Vice President and Banking Center Manager for Citizens State Bank here in Carmel, Indiana. She has built a community for local businesswomen, professionals, and they come together and they network and they support and they're each other's cheerleaders. I've met some amazing women from this group. She has also spearheaded an initiative to better and serve women better called Women Business Owners in the community as well. Melissa is an active BNI, Gnawbone, and other organizations that promote networking and women business enterprises. And we're going to dive into some of that today too with Melissa. She also volunteers her time to assist young and unwed mothers to better understand budgeting and financial literacy. And she herself was a teenage mom and understands the challenges faced by teen moms. And Melissa hopes to inspire these young women to push through the challenges and build a life that they can be successful and thrive in. Melissa was not in the banking profession early on. And upon finding herself divorced, after 25 years of marriage in a primarily stay-at-home role, it was her banker that encouraged her to give that career a try. And that was nearly 15 years ago. Melissa is thrilled that she's chosen the banking world and to serve her community in that capacity and build and educate other women professionals as well. She doesn't have a lot of spare time, that I know, but in her spare time, she enjoys spending it with her husband and the blended family of 7 children and 10 grandchildren. She also enjoys traveling and is looking forward to her trip to Scotland. Um, okay, so we've got to get the golf game up, it looks like, huh? Because are you going to St. Andrews?
I mean, that's part of the goal, yes, but really, I
Nice.
just have to do better than 8, right?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, exactly. Melissa is also on the board of directors for the Indiana Parkinson's Foundation and design chair for the Taste of Carmel here in the Indianapolis area as well. And she's a graduate with the Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Management from Indiana Wesleyan University. Oh my goodness. Can we accomplish anything else, my dear? You're just so accomplished. I just get blown away every time I look at your bio.
Well, thank
You're just
you.
amazing.
Thank
You
you.
have accomplished so much, my friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I would love to tap into something that I read in your bio.
Okay.
And I know you and I have talked about it, but what were the challenges? How did you overcome, I guess, the challenge, right, of being a teen mom, right, in those early years? Because I know you have a ton of grit. And I would love for you because I know there are other women and other families going through that same situation now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think that there are, I would say, many things that contributed to me becoming successful. And one of those, I think that early on, as a teen mom, I remember um, thinking. Now, my story is slightly different than a lot of teen mothers. We did get married, and while that marriage ended after 25 years, that was the path that we chose to take. And early on, I recall just wanting to be better than all the others, right? I wanted to make sure that I was raising my children in a way that you wouldn't expect a teen mom to raise. So um, I went through I was a very conservative type of a background. Early on, I remember listening to a radio station that some folks may remember, may still listen to. But it was Dr. James Dobson, Focus on the Family. And
I love
I
Dr.
used
Dobson.
yeah, just fantastic. Just really used a lot of those very practical principles on how to raise my kids. Did I do that perfectly? And no way. I was not equipped. You're not equipped at 15 to do this. So no matter how how determined you are, uh, at 15, I still had the struggles and I look back now and think, my goodness, I would be a great mom if I could just have kids now, but why do that when you have grandkids, right? So
Well, I don't know. I was 40 when I had Thad, so there's some of us with a little starter late in life, though.
well, that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
So it was just kind of taking on that role early on to be a stay-at-home mom and kind of focusing on my kids. I was active in their schools and worked in the school system on occasion, but how their father traveled so much and kind of worked on him building his career. I just focused on staying home with the kids,
Mm.
and so there were. I have 4 adult children now that all of them have a significant other or married. So, and 10 grandchildren. Uh, but where they were, as my ex-husband was working, their age gaps just really did not, the way they go to school and all of that, I would have had to hire somebody to kind of shuffle them around everywhere. So it
Right?
just, it just made sense to be a stay-at-home mom.
Love it. So, and I love the story of how you got into the banking center, like, and got into that role. Would you just like kind of elaborate? I know I shared a little bit. Will
Sure.
you kind of elaborate how that happened? And then what did you find that you loved about working in the baking center?
Sure. So during my divorce, when I divorced my ex-husband, we were living abroad, and uh, came back to Indiana. We had our home there, and just in a divorce, you're kind of navigating a lot of things, and banking is one of them. Your finances, and so I would go to my banker and kind of get help and talk with him about different things and what I needed to do. And I just remember, telling him all of this and trying to sort some things out. We got some things sorted out, and he just said, "Melissa, is there anything else I can do for you?" And I said, "Yeah. Can you get me a job? Like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, what am I going to do now?" And he said, "Oh, I would hire you in a moment if I could. However, I filled my last teller position, but Brittany, the manager at our Westfield location, she it has a need for a teller. And so within maybe 6 weeks, I started my career as a teller. And I didn't know then. I was very green. I had no idea. I was laughing with someone before yesterday, just talking about this. I didn't know what a batch was. A batch in banking is a lot different than a batch, like a cookie batch. So when we were going through the whole program, the whole training, I'm like, a bat, like I couldn't get that. I couldn't understand like the new terminology and all of that. But you all they really need in banking is you need a good head on your shoulders, and you need to kind of think on your feet. And so, I started, I certainly think that when I started, I started at a larger regional bank that I didn't think, oh, I'm going to make a career of this. Right. I just knew that I was hungry and I was going to do the best job that I could do. And so I quickly went from there. A year later, I went to work for another bank that has quite a status, a regional, or not a regional, a locally owned bank. And I think that's where I really was kind of groomed as a banker, and where I really got most of my understanding of serving customers with excellence, and just being responsive and understanding and listening. And so it was there that I was able to move up from teller to supervisor teller to being on the platform side, which is where you start to open accounts,
Right.
and work my way up to assistant manager there.
And so now I would love for you to share with everybody. And I know working with women and women entrepreneurs, women in business, locally owned businesses is a big passion of yours. So share with everybody a little bit, how did you find that niche? Like, what is it that like you love just to work with people who need help in that sector?
Well, I think that it comes from, a little bit from my own kind of background, as I think back to the women who managed me in the past. I've had those exceptional ones and the not so exceptional ones, and you learn from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember having this, uh, when I become a manager, it wasn't even an if, it was when I become this, I want to model this, I want to model this, and not necessarily this. So it kind of came from that wanting to really be able to be a support for my team and for those that I lead. And so kind of from that, as I was moving from one bank to another, from an assistant manager to a manager position, one of the questions in my interview was, "What are you going to do to get people to come into the banking center to generate business?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to start a women's business owner, like a networking group." And I mean, it just was there. It was just what I wanted to do. And so I did start that at another bank that I worked for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty successful. It did pretty well. But it really has kind of reached a whole nother level here at Citizen State Bank. So
Yes, share with everybody what what this entails, because I have met so many amazing women from this group. The couple times that I get to attend, like, fill everybody in, because the group of women is just spectacular.
it really is. It really is. I've been very blessed to just meet uh, women who are diverse,
Hmm.
and yet all want to take part in the same um, mindset of supporting one another.
Hmm.
And I think that in today's world, when we see women fighting women and being nasty to one another, um, I have zero tolerance for it, none. And so what I love to see and what I want to do is generate that encouraging spirit, that mindset of let's build one another up, because we have no idea what we can accomplish when we have other women beside us helping us grow in our careers and grow in our personal and professional relationships. And so what we have done over the past 2 years, or is it 3? I think it's 3 years. Oh my goodness.
Time flies when you have fun.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm trying to think how long we've been doing that. It might be just 2 years that we've started Citizens Women Connection. I think it's 2. Uh, Women are now coming in, now that we are kind of out there more on LinkedIn and on social media. I will go to conferences and have women come up to me. I want to be a part of this. I want to find out how I can, attend these meetings. So it's definitely become, I feel like almost bigger than me. There's so much to be able to kind of pull the women in. And so we just send out an invite, and then we also post it on social media. You can find us on Facebook. It's Citizens Women Connection. And it's a Citizen State Bank. If you look us up on LinkedIn as well, you'll be able to kind of follow us and see how our meetings go. But so right now we kind of take a break during the summer, and then in the fall we'll kind of kick it back up. Usually we want to do something kind of fun for the fall meeting, but we've certainly tackled some very heavy subjects. Being a woman in the workplace is not always easy. And so I want to make sure that I'm offering the women tools to be able to be successful and help them in any way that we can. So in May we had it was over like a suicide prevention, like questions to ask to kind of help people through that. With May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I really wanted to make sure that, mental health in the workplace is something that's very important. So we had a speaker come in from Aspire Health, and Maggie Owens, and she did a fantastic job just kind of walking us through, if someone has these, start to say things that might make you think, they could be at risk. Here are some questions and some tools you can have.
Well, that's awful powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know we had fun in January, then setting goals and doing vision with the ladies and just kicking the year off strong and fun. So that was a fun one too. You always have great speakers.
They really, again, we've just been very blessed to have women such as yourself that I have been fortunate enough to meet, and just in talking and building our relationship, that's where I'm like, okay, we've got a good speaker here. We're going to do that. And for the next year, I will be, I think in September, we're going to start our meetings, September, and then we'll run through May again. We may do like a girls' night out, so be watching for that. We might do some kind of a girls' night out in June, late June. We'll see how we can make that happen. But
that would be fun.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that. I don't think it's going to work to be able to just, June is just too packed to be able to try to get another speaker in. So I think we're just gonna go out and have fun.
Well, we like cocktails anyways. We like to go have fun and have a good cocktail. It's okay. It's all good. So I was going to ask, what are you going to do when you outgrow the bank's lobby? When you have so many women attending, because the last time I was there, we were trying to scrounge around, trying to find enough chairs for everybody. I mean, this is growing so massive.
It is. It really is. Well, one thing that we have done is they've purchased folding chairs for me and a cart to store them on. So that's going to probably double what it would have before, with pulling in all of the kind of the lobby chairs or the office chairs that are on wheels. We would wheel them in, And then when all of the men would come in, the officers would come in, they go into their offices and they wouldn't have chairs. So we'd be wheeling them back or handing them over to
Yeah.
them. So they thought it was great.
Oh my goodness, it's so fun to watch. Why do you feel that right now, and I don't know if you are sensing it, but there is a a need and a desire and a want from women business leaders and owners to grow like their network of other strong, amazing women. And I think it's always been there, but it's like the last year or two, it's really it's on top of mind with everyone, right?
Yes.
Why do
Yeah,
you think
I
that
think
is?
so. I think so. And, I almost wonder if a lot of this came out of COVID.
Mm,
So many folks, kind of went back to the basics in 2020. We went
yeah,
home. I mean, I didn't as a banker, I still went into the office. However, so many folks who were, but, we would trade off sometimes we would be in the
yeah,
office and sometimes we wouldn't but, uh, but women, went home. And so during that time that they were home, I think that they reassessed their value, not their values, but kind of maybe buckled down and became recommitted and thought, if this happens again, I don't want to be in a situation where maybe things are tight, because maybe some of those women were sent home and didn't have a salaried position, and maybe they were sent home and weren't able to make an income. And
right,
so I think just being who we are, women began to kind of rise up and find ways to start their own businesses. And
mhm,
so there was this real surge in 21, I believe, and in 22 of women business owners, just real women becoming business owners. And that's also about the same time that I took over as manager here at Citizen State Bank. And it was we were kind of looking into sponsoring or being a corporate partner to NAWBO Indianapolis, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. And so then I was introduced to several women business owners there. And it was through that, and also just kind of starting this women's networking group, that I really saw a need that we really need to be finding a way to serve these women business owners and help them with resources um, and time and what kind of banking products. Not that they're really the products themselves are any different, but maybe the support that we can offer a woman business owner that may look different to the support that we are offering to
sure,
a company that maybe isn't a women business, is owned by a woman.
right,
As women, we generally face more challenges um, when it comes to finances and when it comes to support, because traditionally we are the ones who are taking care of the children. It falls traditionally on us. That's not to say that that doesn't happen to the
right,
single dads out there. Um, and this is what I do is just a focus on women and a focus on how we can help them grow in their businesses. And so uh, through the last year, I was being mentored by our CEO, Dan Maddox, and it was through those conversations that we decided to embark on something even bigger than the networking group itself, but starting an initiative for women business owners so that we can look into ways that we can better bank them and we can be better a bigger support of their businesses. And so we're still in that where we're reaching out to our current clients and finding out ways that we've been very helpful and ways that we might need to have more, skin in the game in some
Okay.
other areas. So just an honest conversation with them to find out, where do we fall and how does this look?
I
So
love that. Where do you see women wanting or needing additional support as they open and start their new businesses? What's the feedback that you're hearing?
I think a big thing is resources and knowing where to find those.
Mm.
So one thing that I would like to see, and I don't, and I'm not sure how this works for banking. So this is, there's a lot of compliance things when I
Oh
start
yeah.
saying websites and all of that. But what I really want to be is just a resource hub for them. And I also want to have the knowledge of knowing where to point that, where to point them if they want to be a contractor for the government. And, because the government will offer, so many, they call them like an XBE, a women owned or a minority owned business. Um, you know, for us to be able to have those resources, say, oh, well, here you go. So we can help women when they're opening their accounts and when they're opening their businesses. And as we're talking to them, we say, oh, okay, well, are you trying to get in this or this? And so it's more than just holding your money at my
Right.
institution. It is a relationship. It is where I am uh, genuinely engaged and helping their business grow to the best of my capacity. So
I love that
yeah,
because there are so many resources out in the community that sometimes I don't even realize is there
oh yeah,
unless
yeah,
you ask questions. So
hmm
I always tell
yeah,
people, ask questions. Like the more knowledge you can gain, or just start connecting with other women in the community, and you're going to find what you need. You just got to ask.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and connecting those women business owners together,
Absolutely.
because my goodness, you start connecting these women, and I may not have the answers or the understanding of what
Mhm.
someone who owns a coffee shop and is trying to make things, trying to build more business and figuring out how to build their brand and that kind of thing. But maybe somebody who owns a breakfast shop may understand that, and I could connect those two ladies. So it's things like that that really help. And one statistic I think that really uh, kind of nailed home how much we really need to help women, and that is when you do a good job for a woman, she is going to tell 7 of her friends.
You are absolutely right.
It's just in our nature. I'm sitting here thinking, Becca, those earrings are gorgeous. I really like those earrings.
TJ Maxx.
That's right. There, see, and you know what? I didn't even have to prompt you.
No,
Like, because that's what we do. We just share. You're like, oh, and
that's
here's
it.
where I got them, and I got them on sale, and I think they had 2 pairs left, and I mean, we just want to share all of that, and
Absolutely.
it's just, it just comes naturally to us as
Mhm.
women, and so I think that there's a real need to do a great job for a woman.
Right.
So,
Yes. Well, and I now that you think about it, I was just talking with somebody and somebody said women are typically better connectors and better at giving warm introductions, aka referrals, because if you do an amazing job, she's going to tell all her friends
mhm,
and then they're going to tell all their friends. And a lot of guys, they have a harder time saying, hey, you got to go talk with so and so, you need to go talk with this person. Like, guys, typically, not all, but typically have a
mhm.
harder time where women were like, hey, yeah, you need to connect with so and so. Here's their phone number. I'll do an email introduction.
Yes.
So I think we're just more collaborative in
Yeah.
that way
Yeah.
by
I think so.
nature.
Yeah. And I think it just, I think it somehow is almost that primal nature of us to nurture, And so it was interesting because as I gave this presentation to several of our directors who were all male. And I come to this slide, and of course this slideshow had been vetted by our CEO. He knew it was coming, so
Yep.
Dan is just fantastic. But as I just read that slide and just said, when you do a good job for a woman, she's going to tell 7 of her friends. When you do a good job for a man, he might tell 1. And the room got quiet for a second, and they all shook their head, and they're like, yeah, that tracks. That's
Seriously, that, I
it
mean,
does.
that it's
Because men don't
legit.
want to share their secrets, and it's just not as natural. That's all. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that they can't do it. It doesn't mean that there aren't men that aren't going to say, you know, thank you for telling, you compliment their shoes and they tell you where they got them or if they got them on sale, but it's highly
Right.
unlikely.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. So when you are not, helping women grow their business, serving all your clients there at the bank, and you do it so well, what are some of the things that you guys as a family love to do with 7, blended kids, the 10 grandkids? Like what fills your cup with joy?
Oh my goodness. So many different things, with such a big family, it's hard to gather them all together. So I've learned to appreciate when the few can gather, when we can
Mhm.
get together, whatever number that looks like. Last year we took a trip, with, my 2 daughters, and, my oldest son's daughter, and then, so several of my grandkids, I think 6 of my grandkids ended up going to Disney, and that was fantastic. That was a fun trip. My husband and I, my husband is from the Sandusky, Ohio area, so we will take some of our local grandkids. We'll take to Cedar Point a couple times through the summer, so that's always a great fun. And his kids are about the same ages as my grandkids. To make things all the more confusing and fun. So I had kids very young. He had kids, in his mid 30s. And so here we are with, grandkids and nieces,
How
So
fun. How
it is
fun.
so much fun. It is a good time
I love
for
it.
sure. They have a blast. And just going and visiting or going to the beach, with whoever wants to come. It's kind of a, here's where we're going to be, who wants to come, kind of thing. So that's always great. With again, with such a big family, scheduling is just always challenging. We did just go on a vacation together with my brother and his wife, on a cruise, and that was wonderful. And one of my nieces and her boyfriend went as well, and then
Where'd you
several
guys go?
friends. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Where'd you guys go, Melissa?
We went on a Carnival cruise to the Southern Caribbean. So we hit Grand Turk, Margaritaville, so much fun. We hit, where was it? Grand Turk, Aruba and Bonaire.
Okay. How
Yeah.
was Aruba and Bonaire?
I loved it. It was fun. It was fun. We went on, I think we hit Aruba first. And so we went on to Eagle Beach, I think,
Okay.
um, and spent a few hours there and kind of, oh, that's when we went on one of those sunset sails.
Oh
That was a
yeah.
blast.
Was
Yeah,
it?
on a like a smaller boat, and we did the sunset sail, and they had appetizers and drinks and played music, and so we were all standing there dancing and doing YMCA. And as we were kind of headed back to the boat, there was uh, uh, all of the folks on the land were kind of doing YMCA with us. It was all good fun. Yeah.
I hope you have video of that. That would be hysterical.
I
That would be
don't know.
so
I
much.
might have. I might have. Yeah.
Okay. That would
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, in your illustrious, amazing rise, in banking, what is some of the best business advice that you've ever received?
The best business advice that I have ever received. I think it's really be authentic.
Mm,
Just be who you are. Banking is certainly one of those professions that I feel is, I wish I would have gotten into it sooner.
yeah.
Um, but it is a profession that Um, it really just takes someone who has the ability to learn. Um, and it just kind of depends on your personality on what direction you want to go within that career. I loved theater. I used to do community theater. I uh, don't mind being, center stage and, having attention. So I'm okay. I love going out and networking and chatting with people and doing all of that. And building business and building our brand. But if that's not your personality, there still is the opportunity, as long as you are being true to yourself and being authentically you. You can still, make a career doing, something else in banking that maybe you're not, kind of front and center, if you will.
I love that. And then you mentioned you had two quotes that you love. So the first one's by Maya Angelou, and it's the life is not measured by the breaths that you take, but by the moments that take your breath away, which I think that explains your vacation you just had with the family, right? Like, I
Absolutely.
love it. So
Yes.
cherishing the moments. And then the other one is First Corinthians 13:13. Three things that will last forever: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And to me, you totally live that out by wanting to serve so many women here in the Indianapolis area, help them to live a life they love and to grow their business. So when I read those, I was like, oh, that is totally Melissa. Like, those are just you, my dear. I mean, I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. So one of the things I always love ending the podcast on is, and as I was reading it, was, what's the funniest story you can share with us about growing up? And as I was reading your story that you told me about, I was just cracking up because I can just see it. So I would love for you to share with everybody the story about you and your brother, because to me this is hysterical because
It
I
is
can
so
totally
fun.
see me and my siblings doing this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So, we grew up in the 70s, of course, with Donnie and Marie. They were our king and queen. We just loved it. Their brother and sister, they were like us. We were Denny and Missy, and so we had the Donnie and Marie and the Denny, like it just worked, right? So, oh yeah, we always pretended like we were Donnie and Marie, and he was like, I was the whole, I'm a little bit country, and although I was not really traditionally a country fan, but I loved it when Marie did it. Right, she could
Hmm,
do anything. She did it
that's
all.
right.
Still can. Um, so yeah, my brother and I would just, we would like put on little shows for our parents, or if anybody came over, they'd have to, put a cowgirl hat on, and he'd be Mr. Rock and Roll, and yes, and my brother is very musically inclined as well. He's taught himself to play the guitar and leads worship and has just a beautiful voice. He was in the Dayton Boys Choir for many, many years.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, very talented. But being on vacation, um, we were at Margaritaville, and my husband had gone back to the ship already, wasn't feeling too well, and his and my sister-in-law was on an excursion. And so it was my brother and I were kind of hanging out in Margaritaville with some of our other friends and waiting for our drinks, which, you can wait for a little bit of time. So as the, Cupid Shuffle comes on,
Right.
there we are doing the Cupid Shuffle and all the other
Yeah.
fun dances that they were, but it was just a good time. So yeah, we
I
weren't
love it.
exactly Donnie and Marie.
But
I
I love
don't
it.
know if
That
they
is
would
so
be
fun.
proud of us.
So my sister and I, when we were younger, you remember the movie White Christmas?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. So you know how they have the song Sisters, Sister?
Yes.
So my sister and I can sing every word and we can literally do the dance. And so for my wedding, that was going to be one of the funniest things. We were because I got Michael and I got married on New Year's Eve, and we were going to do the dance at the wedding reception. But my coordinator actually took away like the umbrellas and stuff that we were going to use. And so my sister and I didn't get to do it because she's like, we were going to come in and we were going to even like come in like New Orleans style. like as a parade coming in. She took away everything. So like I didn't get to do the two fun things that we wanted to because she's like, I guess she didn't want us to do it. I don't know. So we were kind of bummed. But my sister and I can do the sisters.
That's so fun.
It may not be Donnie and Marie, but we've got
It
sisters.
suits. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, Melissa, you are the best, and you're one of the people that I go to when I need advice on things and like a clear the picture. That's why I think I love meeting with the women that we meet with on a regular basis, just because you are one of those amazing voices that so many people, you just kind of give such a great perspective. So I appreciate you on so many levels today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So everyone, that wraps up another empowering episode with Talk with Coach. I hope you found today's insights valuable and actionable. Remember, growth is a journey and every step forward counts. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and my YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. So share your thoughts, questions, and topics by reaching out to us on social media or our website. Until next time, keep striving for greatness, keep pushing your limits, and remember, your success story is waiting to be written. This is Becca Goldsberry signing off. Take care and make it a blessed day.